I feel that the house church is the best vehicle to move the kingdom of God throughout the world because it is fluid. I have a great passion to see the house church totally infect the world because it's simple, it's not tied down to one central geographic, it's wherever you are. You are the church. That's the overarching theme. You are the church. If you are in Pennsylvania, the church went to Pennsylvania. If you go to work, the church is at work. If you go to Florida, the church is at Florida. Wherever you are, that's the church. And that's the kingdom being moved wherever you are because you are the church.
The house church movement is being described as liquid church because it permeates every facet of society. It's no longer about trying to draw sinners out of their comfort zone and into the pews, but rather it's about going to where the lost are and sharing the love of Christ.
When you start a new church, you reach into new pockets of people, new areas, new communities, new circles of influences that allow the faith to, the 6 degrees of separation principle. It just goes out, goes out, goes out.
The house church is reaching the unreached. Our people are going into the bars. We're going into the marketplace.
I used to tell people, do come to my church, do come to our meeting. And I thought that I was working for God. I thought that I was working for God and pleasing God in bringing people into the church. But I came to realize that God didn't call us to bring people in, but to send them out to go do the work of the ministry.
All these people have these circles of influence. And it's not about getting them to start bringing people into my house church. I mean, if they happen to be local, that's great, but it's about getting the people who are in the house church to take their faith outside.
Simple churches need a different kind of leader. Official training and personal charisma aren't the key to leadership.
This isn't a movement of celebrities and superstars. There's only one superstar, and that's Jesus. And he's the one we want to get all the glory. We quite often pray, Lord, don't let us even touch your glory. It belongs to you.
We need leaders who believe that God is in control, even if we are not. And that's exciting because at this point it gets out of hand. And I believe the church has to be getting out of hands. There's this prophetic word that God says, give me back my church so that I can give it back to the world. I think that's what's happening.
If we can release an army of ordinary people who have leaders in that army, generals who are going low, who are coming up under, who are making sure that every person in this army of ordinary people recognizes that within them they have leadership potential. And to see that leadership released is essential.
The traditional church in America is experiencing a leadership crisis. The prestige that used to come with being a pastor is not as prevalent as it once was, but the work is as prevalent as ever. Many pastors are overworked and overwhelmed, so fewer and fewer people are getting into professional ministry.
I spent my entire week in the traditional system trying to get a sermon or a Bible study teaching together that would excite or touch the heart of somebody, not realizing that I was taking all my time, putting it into something that really wasn't working.
It's when the joy leaves and the peace leaves and it gets heavy, we're not doing it His way. My burden is light, is easy.
The beauty of simple church is that now I don't study for sermons. I study for revelation. I teach out of that I know.
Not getting rid of leadership. Leadership is a part of life. But God is getting rid of the hierarchical structures that lock people up. And church is moving from being the greatest indoor spectator sport in the world to being a great participation where every person finds a real home and a part.
I predict that within the next 4 to 8 years, this whole house churches, networks of house churches, which needs to be not just independent groupings, but needs to work together under God and with each other in some sort of apostolic prophetic environment, will become mainline in America and will be a type of church that actually assembles around tables in homes where you eat and celebrate and cry and laugh, and stadiums. After all, why are these stadiums built? For sports? Are you kidding? So these two things, we need to see this as the two poles of the church. And the type of leadership already I see emerging that will be able to handle that. And this will be great news for pastors and youth workers and everything, because they will be released from that religious rut and be incorporated into a much larger picture.
He's training people to go through a death to their own ambitions, a death to their desire to be in the limelight, a death to their desire to create an empire.